You're with Matt Sauvage of the Greenbrier West. First of all, Matt, I was really impressed with Eli tonight. We've seen him do this his whole career, but he's a guy who kind of early on in games figures out if he's going to be a facilitator that night, if he's going to have to score. He decided he was a facilitator tonight and really did that role. Probably if he had 15 assists, he should have had 20.
Yeah.
But he's just understanding the game, top level.
Yes, and he figures it out before we figure it out. I mean, he's got that much knowledge in the game to read the other team, and they were going to take away a lot from him tonight, and which is smart on their part. But when teams take away, let's say they take away scoring, well, then he's going to make the rest of the players better around him, and they're going to score. So because of what he does, and so I don't know how you stop him, and I hope teams don't. But he played great tonight.
That second quarter run really kind of closed the door.
Yeah.
It was really a good game before the quarter. But you guys kind of hit a lot of shots. Eli morphed into that facilitator.
Yep.
And he scored a couple of baskets there in the second too. But that second quarter run really ended the game.
Yeah, the second quarter we picked up the pace a little bit. We were able to start trapping a little bit on the defensive side. Not necessarily to get a steal, but to speed up the pace of the game. And because that's our goal, we want to speed it up. And so, now we've played some slow-down games this year, and we can do that, but we would rather play fast. And when we play fast, we click a lot better on the offensive end.
Really, Colin Fox has kind of morphed into a guy who's people worry how you would replace Shad, and I'm not saying he's not the three. You don't have a three-point shooter like Shad on this team. I guess you haven't needed it really this year. And you play a little bit different because of that. But he's really morphed into the guys taking up that scoring.
Yeah, he's picking up the scoring side of it, and then, of course, Josh and him combined are picking up the three side of it, even with Eli mixed in there with them. And, we're probably averaging more threes this year than we were last year. But it's more of a, committee than it is one player doing it. We've got a committee doing it, which, that's good for us because what do you focus on then? If you're the opponent, who do you stop?
If you had to go about game planning, and I don't think you'll answer this because you don't want to give anything wrong, but I'll ask anyway, how would you stop yourself? How would you stop this team? Could you do it?
I'll pass that question up.
Do you have a way? Do you think you have a way?
No.
In your head?
But that's one of the things
you don't want to look like a bad coach.
But that's one of the things we do in practice. We look at what are teams going to do to try to stop us, and let's set up our offense.
Do
and
you figure you've seen every scenario that way?
Over the last 2 to 3 years, yes. We've seen a lot of different defense over the last 2 to 3 years, and there comes a time where there's only so much that people can do, and so we feel like we're ready for it. Now, you never know. Sometimes nights aren't going your way, so we'll see how that goes.
What's the main difference between this team and last year's team?
We're playing differently. Honestly, I didn't know if we could speed up the defensive end, and we have. We've sped up our defensive game. Most people look at offense, speeding up that side of it, but we sped up our defensive side, and that was a goal from us from the beginning, was to speed up the defensive side, and we've been able to do that. It took us probably about half the season to get that figured out. But once we figured it out, we figured out ways to do that. So
best defensive team you've been part of?
As a whole, yes. We've had better. We've had some pieces, maybe post or maybe this or maybe that, but as a whole defensive team, yes, and it's because they buy into it. They bought into how we're going to play defense, and they bought into trusting each other on it, and that's everything for you.
Well, last year at the state tournament, you told us you were going to golf, and then decide if you were going to come back. How glad are you were you made that decision to come back?
It's been a fun year. Corey, my assistant coach, Corey Miller, and I, we've thought about that a lot, and we talked about it a lot, and so it's we're glad, very glad, and it's because of these boys. They're such a great group of kids, whether we're winning or not. They're such a great group of kids, and that's 100% the reason we're back.
Beginning of the year, if you looked ahead and said we'd be in a game with Shady Spring where we have the last shot to tie, we beat Bluefield twice, would you believe that?
No. Now if you ask our boys, yes. our boys think,
Never met a player didn't think it was going to
yeah, which is great. That's what you want out of your players. You want them to feel that way. But as coaches, you got to think realistically,
Right.
and especially with football going late this year. We were wondering how we were going to respond to it, and we figured we'd take 3, 4, 5 losses there in that stretch we had. You never knew how they were going to turn out, and the boys were able to pull most of them out and almost pulled the 2 out that we lost.
It's been a heck of a run, huh?
It's been a great run. Great run.
Matt, I appreciate it.
They've always appreciate you, man.